My father was in a coma. My stepmother locked the basement door and said, "Until that lawyer leaves, you're staying down here. 5 days. 5 days in the dark. No water. No hope." I thought I was dying. But she didn't know one thing. I had a broken phone. And that night, everything was recorded. Sit with me for a minute, baby. Let me tell you about the last time I saw my father alive. Really alive, I mean. Before the machines. Before the coma. Before everything went dark. It was a Tuesday morning. Early April. The kind of morning where the sun comes through the kitchen window just right, you know? Warm. Gentle. My father was sitting at that old wooden table we'd had since I was 6 years old. He had his coffee. Black. No sugar. Never sugar. He looked at me, and honey, his eyes were tired. "Eve," he said, just my name. That's all. I sat down across from him. I didn't say nothing. Sometimes you just know when someone's about to tell you something heavy. I remember my heart did this little skip. Not because I cared about money, baby. I didn't. But because the way he said it, like he was preparing for something. "Dad, why you talking like that?" I asked him. He smiled. That sad kind of smile. The kind that says, "I know something you don't." Just in case, baby girl. Just in case. 2 weeks later, he collapsed. "Listen, honey, you need to understand something about my father. He wasn't just rich. He was self-made rich. Came from nothing. Dirt floors. No shoes. He built an empire with his own 2 hands. Real estate, investments, properties all over the state. $27 million. That's what he built from nothing. And me? I was his only child, his blood, the one who sat with him in that garage when he was fixing up houses, the one who held the flashlight while he worked at 2 in the morning. But then, 10 years ago, he married Linda. Now, baby, let me tell you something about Linda. She wasn't evil at first. She was just smooth. You know the type. The kind of woman who knows exactly what to say, how to smile, how to make a man feel young again after his wife died. My mother died when I was 25. Cancer. 6 months. My father was destroyed. For 2 years, he was a ghost. Then Linda appeared. She came with a son, Michael, 19. Spoiled, entitled. I tried, honey. I really tried to welcome them. But from day one, I could feel it. The way Linda looked at me, like I was in her way. When my father collapsed, I was at work. I taught 3rd grade. It was a Friday. The school secretary came to my classroom. "Ms. Eve," she said. Her face was pale. "You need to come to the office. There's a call." I got the call at 2:47 p.m. "Ms. Eve, this is St. Mary's Hospital. Your father's in the ICU. You need to come now." I drove like hell, baby. I don't even remember the drive. Just my hands shaking on that steering wheel. When I got to the hospital, Linda was already there. Sitting in the waiting room. Calm. Too calm. She had a magazine in her lap. A magazine, honey. Michael was next to her, scrolling on his phone, smiling at his screen. "What happened?" I asked, barely breathing. Linda looked up at me, slow. "Stroke," she said. "Massive. They don't know if he'll wake up." The way she said it, the flatness in her voice. I pushed past her, went straight to the nurse's station. They took me to room 412, and baby, when I saw him, my strong father. The man who built houses with his bare hands. He was so small in that bed. Tubes everywhere. Machines beeping. I grabbed his hand. "Daddy," I whispered. "Daddy, I'm here." Nothing. just the beep of those machines. Honey, let me pause here, because what I felt wasn't just fear. It was something cold. The way Linda had been sitting in that waiting room. The way Michael had been smiling, like they'd been expecting this. For 3 days, I stayed at that hospital. Didn't leave. Not once. Slept in that chair next to his bed. Held his hand, talked to him. Daddy, you gotta wake up, I whispered. You gotta wake up and tell me what to do. Linda came by once a day, 20 minutes, sat in the corner, didn't say much. Michael never came at all. On the 3rd day, around 6 p.m., Linda came in, alone, closed the door. Eve, she said. Soft, sweet, that fake sweetness. You need to go home, rest, shower. You look terrible, honey. I shook my head. I'm not leaving him. You haven't eaten in days, she said. You're going to make yourself sick. She put her hand on my shoulder. The lawyer's coming tomorrow morning, she said quietly, to go over the will. You'll want to be fresh for that. Something in the way she said it made my skin crawl. What do you mean? I asked. Your father's will, Eve. Standard procedure when someone's in this condition. He's not dead, I said. I know, sweetie, but we need to be prepared. Baby, that's when I should have known. But I was so tired, so scared. So I went home. The house I grew up in was beautiful. My father built it himself. 4 bedrooms. Wraparound porch. Hardwood floors he sanded by hand. And the basement. He finished it 5 years ago. Linda redecorated it. Made it modern. Gray walls, white furniture, cold. I hadn't been down there in months. I got home around 9 p.m. The house was quiet. Linda's car was in the driveway. Michael's truck, too. I went to my room, took a shower. Long, hot. I let the water run over me, and I cried, baby. I cried so hard. When I got out, I heard voices downstairs. Low, whispering. I cracked my bedroom door open. Linda and Michael, in the hallway. It has to be tomorrow morning, Linda was saying, before she gets back to the hospital. What if she doesn't go for it? Michael sounded nervous. She will. She won't have a choice. Just stick to the plan. But what if... Michael, Linda's voice went hard. I froze, baby. Honey, you ever get that feeling? That animal instinct that tells you to run? I got dressed fast. Jeans, t-shirt, sneakers, grabbed my phone. My hands were shaking. I needed to get out, get back to the hospital. I opened my door, and Michael was standing right there. Hey, Eve, he said, smiling. I tried to push past him. Excuse me. He grabbed my arm hard. Let go of me, I said. Mom wants to talk to you, he said. Downstairs. He pulled me. I tried to fight, but baby, he was strong. I was weak from not eating. Linda was waiting at the basement door. Eve, she said. Cold now. All that fake sweetness gone. We need you to stay down here for a little while. What are you talking about? My heart was pounding. Just until tomorrow afternoon, she said. After the will reading. And honey, that's when I understood. You can't do this, I said. You can't. Michael shoved me, hard. I stumbled, lost my balance, fell down the basement stairs. I hit my shoulder on the railing. Pain exploded like fire. I tumbled down. My phone flew from my hand. I heard it crack. I landed at the bottom, hard. The air knocked out of me. Above me, the door slammed. The lock clicked. Heavy, final. Darkness. You know what hurts the most, baby? It wasn't the fall. It wasn't the pain. It was hearing Linda's voice through that door. Don't worry, Eve. It'll all be over soon. Just stay quiet down there. Then footsteps. Walking away. Silence. I sat at the bottom of those stairs for I don't know how long. Just breathing. Trying to understand. They locked me in. My stepmother. my stepbrother, in my own father's house. I pulled myself up slowly. Everything hurt. My shoulder was screaming. I felt around for my phone, found it near the bottom step. The screen was shattered, but when I pressed the power button, it lit up. Barely. Going in and out. No signal, of course. Concrete walls, no windows except that tiny one near the sea. I tried the door. Pulled, pounded, kicked. Solid. I screamed. Let me out. Nothing. I screamed until my throat was raw. Nothing. Honey, let me tell you, I don't scare easy, but that first night, I was terrified because I realized they could leave me down here. They could say I never came home. They could say I abandoned my father. And who would know? There was no food, no water, just old furniture, a couch, a coffee table, a lamp that didn't work. The only light I had was my dying phone. I sat on that couch, holding my shoulder, trying to think. And that's when I saw it, in the corner, a cardboard box. I crawled over, used my phone's flashlight, full of my father's old things, pictures, papers, documents. I started going through them, and then, at the bottom, a manila envelope, with my name on it. To Eve, open immediately if anything happens to me. My hands were shaking. Inside was a letter, handwritten, in my father's scroll, and a copy of his. Dated 3 weeks ago. Baby, I read that letter and I cried. My dearest Eve, if you're reading this, something has happened to me. I hope I'm wrong, but I need you to know the truth. I've seen the way Linda looks at my accounts, the way Michael talks about his inheritance. I'm changing my will. Today. I'm leaving everything to you. Every single thing. $27 million, baby girl. That's what we built, you and me. Linda gets nothing. Michael gets nothing. They've shown me who they are. If something happens, Eve, you fight. You fight for what's yours. I love you, baby girl. Dad, I read it 3 times. He knew. My father knew what they were, and he tried to protect me. But they locked me down here so I'd miss the reading, so they could claim I abandoned him, so they could contest the will. Baby, I sat there and I cried, but not sad tears, angry tears, furious tears. Listen, honey, this next part is important. I had maybe 10% battery left on my phone. No signal. No way to call for help. But baby, I'm my father's daughter. He didn't raise no fool. I opened the voice recorder app, and I started talking. My name is Eve Mitchell. It's Friday, April 17th, around 11 p.m. I'm locked in the basement of my father's house at 4782 Magnolia Drive. My stepmother, Linda Mitchell, and my stepbrother, Michael Palmer, locked me in here approximately 2 hours ago. They pushed me down the stairs. My shoulder is injured. I took a breath. They told me I have to stay here until after the will reading tomorrow. I have a copy of my father's will. Dated 3 weeks ago. He left me everything. His entire estate. $27 million. He left Linda and Michael nothing. They know this. That's why I'm down here. They're trying to make me miss the reading so they can contest it. I recorded everything, baby. Every detail. Every conversation I'd overheard. Every look. Every comment. Then I saved it. Tried to send it to my email. The screen GL. Went black. Came back. Sending. I watched that circle spin. Praying. Message sent. Then my phone died. Complete darkness. The first day was the hardest. No food, no water. My mouth was dry, my lips cracking, my head pounding. I tried to stay calm, conserve energy. I laid on that couch and thought about my father. You're a fighter, Eve, he used to say. Never give up. By the second day, I was getting weak, really weak. I could hear them upstairs, walking, talking, laughing, baby. While I was dying, I found an old bottle in the corner, maybe an inch of stale water. I drank it anyway. On the third day, I heard the doorbell. Voices, professional sounding. The lawyer. I crawled to the stairs, pounded on the door with my good arm. "Help!" I screamed, or tried to. My voice was barely a whisper. "I'm down here." But the basement was too far from the front door. The walls too thick. Linda had soundproofed them. Nobody heard me. I collapsed, and I just gave up for a minute. I laid there thinking about my mother, wondering if this was how she felt at the end. Helpless, scared. And then I heard my father's voice in my head. "Get up, baby girl. You're stronger than this." Honey, let me tell you, there's a small window in that basement, high up, near the ceiling, 2 feet wide, maybe a foot tall, barely big enough for a person. But on the 4th day, I looked up at that window and thought, maybe. I dragged that coffee table under it. Took me 20 minutes with one arm. Then the couch. Pushed it against the table. Climbed up. Even standing on the couch, I could barely reach. I found the screwdriver in my father's toolbox. Climbed back up. Started prying at the window frame. The paint was thick. Layers of it. My hand was shaking. I pried, pushed, pulled. Nothing. Again and again. Baby, I worked on that window for hours. My hand bleeding. Blisters on blisters. My shoulder screaming. But I kept going. Because I could hear Linda upstairs on the phone. "Yes, it's so tragic. Eve hasn't even been by to see him. We're so worried." Lies. And I knew if I didn't get out, those lies would become truth. On the 5th day, something in me broke. Not gave up, snapped. I took that screwdriver and stabbed it into the window frame with everything I had. The wood cracked. Again. More cracking. Again. The frame splintered. Baby, I pried at that window like my life depended on it. Because it did. And finally it moved. I pushed, used my shoulder, even though the pain made me want to scream. The window opened. Getting through that window was the hardest thing I've ever done. I had to squeeze through. My injured shoulder first. The pain was unbearable. But I kept going. I wriggled through, scratching my back on the frame, my face on the concrete outside. I fell into the bushes, landed hard. Fresh air, sunlight, freedom. Then I got up and ran. I ran to Mr. Patterson's house. 3 houses down. She'd known me since I was a kid. I pounded on her door. "Eve?" she gasped. Put her hand to her mouth. "Oh my Lord, child, what happened?" I must have looked like hell. Covered in dirt. Bleeding. Bruised. "Call the police," I said. "Now. Please." Baby, when those officers pulled up 20 minutes later, Linda's face went white. She was standing in the driveway, talking on her phone. She looked up, saw me with 2 officers. Her mouth fell open. Michael came running out, saw me, stopped dead. "Officers," I said, "I need to report a kidnapping." I told them everything. How they'd locked me in 5 days ago. How they'd pushed me down the stairs. How they'd left me without food or water. Linda tried to deny it. "That's insane. She's been gone." "Then why is there a lock on the outside of the basement door?" one officer asked. Linda's mouth opened, closed, no words. They went inside, checked the basement. Found the lock on the outside. Found the scratches on the inside door. Found my blood on the stairs. Found the broken window. Found the box with my father's will. Baby, Michael tried to run. Literally tried to run out the back door. They caught him in the backyard. They arrested them both that day. Kidnapping, false imprisonment, assault, attempted fraud. I watched them put Linda in handcuffs. She looked at me through the window, eyes cold, hateful. But baby, I didn't look away. I stared right back until that car drove away. The lawyer came to the hospital while I was being treated. Dehydration, dislocated shoulder, bruised ribs, cuts everywhere. But I was alive. He brought the will, the real will. "Your father left you his entire estate," he said. All properties, assets, accounts. Approximately $27 million. I didn't say anything for a minute. Linda tried to declare you absent, he continued. She said you'd abandoned your father. She was prepared to contest the will. But I wasn't absent, I said quietly. I was locked in my father's basement. He nodded. I know. The police informed me. Miss Mitchell, I'm so sorry. It's not your fault, I said. And it wasn't, baby. It was their greed, their evil. The trial took 6 months. Linda tried everything. Every defense. Every excuse. She said I'd gone down by myself. That I'd locked myself in by accident. But then the prosecutor played my recording. That voice memo from the first night. My voice echoing through that courtroom. My stepmother, Linda Mitchell, and my stepbrother, Michael Palmer, locked me in here. They told me I have to stay until after the will reading tomorrow. Baby, the jury took 40 minutes. Linda got 8 years. Michael got 6. The judge said, you attempted to steal from this woman. You imprisoned her. You left her to die. All for money that was never yours. Justice has been served. My father died 2 weeks after I got out. I was holding his hand when he went. The doctors said he couldn't hear me, that he was already gone. But I talked to him anyway. Daddy, I whispered. I'm here. I'm okay. They tried to hurt me, but I fought, just like you taught me. I got your letter. I know you were trying to protect me. Tears ran down my face. I love you, Daddy. Thank you for everything. Thank you for being strong. Thank you for seeing the truth. And, honey, I swear, his fingers squeezed mine. Just once. Gentle, weak, but deliberate. He heard me. Then he was gone. Let me tell you something, baby. That money, it didn't make me happy. Not at first. $27 million. It felt like blood money, like it cost too much. Cost me my father. Almost cost me my life. So I started giving it away. $2 million to cancer research, in my mother's name. $1 million to the hospital. A scholarship fund for kids learning trades. $500,000 to start. Money to Mrs. Patterson, who called the police. Paid off her house. I kept enough to live, to be comfortable. But most of it, I gave it away. Because, honey, my father didn't work just to accumulate wealth. He worked to build something meaningful, to help people. That's what I'm doing now. That's how I'm honoring him. It's been 3 years. I sold the big house. Too many memories. Bought a smaller place. Cozy. Just enough for me. I still teach 3rd grade. I love those kids. They keep me grounded. Linda and Michael are still in prison. Part of me is glad they're paying. Part of me just feels sad. Sad that greed can make people hurt family. I visit my father's grave every Sunday, bring him flowers. You'd be proud of me, Daddy, I tell him. I'm using the money right. I'm helping people, just like you did. Sometimes I swear I can feel him smiling. Final reflections. Baby, if you take one thing from my story, let it be this. Family ain't always blood, and blood ain't always family. Some of the most dangerous people are sitting at your dinner table. Trust your gut. When something feels wrong, it probably is. My father saw who they really were. He tried to protect me. But honey, when they try to bury you, when they lock you in the dark and leave you to die, remember something. You got roots. You got strength. You got fight in you. And you got your father's voice telling you to get up. So get up. Every single time. Money comes and goes, baby. But your spirit, your strength, your truth, that's forever. Don't let nobody take that from you. Not for $27 million. Not for anything.